Next up, Brady Russell.
So this is a story about me and my mom and our cat. My mom is a single mother. Something you should know about me is I never should have been born. From the perspective of the birth control industry, I'm a major catastrophe. But I was, and because I was born, really because I was born, that's why my mom was a single mother. And so we lived in southeast Kansas in this great big house, and when I was about 6 years old, my mom decided we should get a cat, and her friend Patty had a cat who had kittens, so we go over to Patty's house, and I pick the cat out. But my mom's the one who names it because she says the cat looks like a white cat that's been splashed with gray paint. And in fact, even like a little bit of the paint had got on her nose, and it was, her nose was like half gray and half pink, which was totally cute. So we named her Splash. And Splash was like the most badass cat, man. Splash was amazing. I'll just tell one thing Splash used to do. You would walk into a room sometimes, and there'd be a door open, like a closet door open. So like the door would be like up here, and there'd be nothing around the door, but somehow Splash would just be up there sitting on the door, just chilling. And you'd be like, Splash, how'd you get on the door? And she'd be like, I'm a cat, I can't talk. She wouldn't know, but Splash did all these things, and the people, we would tell them, and they'd be like, your cat does not slide down banisters backwards. And we would be like, our cat really slides down banisters backwards. And roofers would be like, we roofed your house, and the cat, you're 3 stories up, was up here all day. Cats don't do that. And we're like, our cat does that. So Splash was an amazing cat, and we really loved her. But the one thing about Splash is she loved us or felt this loyalty to us, but she didn't really like us exactly. Like, she needed to like watch out for us and be there when we came home and like watch us come in. But if we tried to pet her, that wasn't cool. She was about like beating up other cats and fighting dogs and, you know, keeping things away from us, but not love. That wasn't her deal. And so, you know, but something else you should know about Splash is she was really good with doors. So when I was 10, Splash was 4, I was 10, my mom gets married for the first time since, you know, I've been around. And so we moved to another town, and when we moved to this new house, my stepfather, he'd never said this before, but he said, no cat will ever live in my house. And we're both like, what? Oh my, I mean, Splash has got to live with us, right? But then my mom sort of freaks for a second, but then was like, you know what? Actually, don't worry about it. He's not going to keep her out. Because like I said, Splash was really good with doors. So like we were constantly finding Splash inside, and she was there with us, and she's hanging out, and she ultimately turns my cat into a cat person. He is absurd with our kittens that we have at home now. Just really, it's like embarrassing. He's like a grown man, but this is how he is. And Splash did that, right? So my mom always theorized that Splash liked her best because she was the antisocial cat. Like, my mom didn't ever try to pet her or give her love or whatever. But and so Splash was tight with all of us. Like, she sat with us all for dinner, and she'd watch us all around the house. She often spent nights with me. But it was my mom she had this special tie with. And you know, I think it's true for a lot of people. That first year of marriage my mom had with my stepfather was pretty hard. We lived in a different town. There was some alcohol drama. There was some rough stuff in that first year. It all ultimately worked out. But my mother was already kind of prone to depression. And Splash was the sort of cat that kind of knew when she was down. And so sometimes when my mom was really down, Splash would just kind of be there in this way that, like, I don't know, just like my stepdad and I didn't get my mom was down, but our cat did, you know, and would be there. And like my mom knew that about her. And so they had this special bond. And so when Splash had these different jobs that she liked to do, and one of them that was particular to my mom and I is when my mom would hang the laundry at our third house. We lived in 3 different houses together. We had like 5 different cats over the course of the time we had Splash, but Splash was with us the whole time, and there was never any question of Splash running away, as some cats do when you change homes. And in that third house, when my mom would do laundry, she would go out and watch my mom hang the laundry up. We sort of viewed that as one of Splash's jobs. She had these duties. So then one day, my stepdad brings Splash into my mom and says, Mama, this baby's too warm. And my mom looks at her, and she sees that her gums are all white and that she's got no energy. And we take her to the vet, and she's diagnosed with feline leukemia, which is pretty much a death sentence for a cat. And my mother, in a way that I'd never seen her do before, just completely loses it. I'm about 15 years old, I think, and this is the moment that my mom describes her viewing me as becoming an adult, because every time we went to the vet to talk about Splash's condition, my mom just pretty much couldn't talk. And so it was me, a 15-year-old person, and my mother, who must have been like, I don't know, 40 at the time, and just crying her eyes out. Eventually she stopped even coming inside and just let me go in and deal with the vet. And in those final days, her death actually came pretty quickly. She got really, really sick, and we could see her fight really hard to live, because somehow Splash knew that we needed her. And the memory that I remember the most from those final moments of Splash's life was my mom going out one day to hang up the laundry. And even though Splash was barely moving at that point, was really not walking around at all, she went outside with my mom one last time for her to hang up the laundry. And that's kind of, in my mind, how Splash told my mom goodbye.
Obviously.